Hey, Shius here. This video is aimed to educate on how to start making digital music, whether that be with Vocaloids or without Vocaloids. Here I'll be introducing the very basics of music theory, music genres, and how to make sounds that adhere to these genres. Disclaimer, I am no musical professional, and although I'm giving you one way to begin, this way isn't the only way to learn how to start making music. There are probably better, more professional ways to do this, but this is how I started off, and I find that this is one of the easiest methods I've seen from my 2-year experience of making music. Mind, this is a video for utter beginners. I'll try to keep explaining to a minimal, but I won't guarantee that it'll be short. If you're already somewhat knowledgeable in this topic, or just want to brush up on some things, I'll have the time markers in the description for you to skip to certain parts. First and foremost, I'll be using VocaloP throughout this tutorial. No, I won't be using FL Studio, my main digital audio workstation, aka DAW, for the duration of this tutorial. If you want to learn that software first, go ahead. There's a shit ton of tutorial videos explaining how to use FL. Reason? FL costs about $200 USD for the full version, which you need for mixing. For this video, I'll be using a free software called VocaloP. As stated in the title, this video aims to be one of the easiest and cost-efficient videos for producers out there, so it's necessary for me to show that good DAWs other than FL can be free too. There are, of course, other good DAWs for free. T5 for Windows, GarageBand for Mac, and Ardour or LMMS for Linux. I just found this to be the easiest and best available free software for Windows. Anyways, the download link for the software will be up in the description, so please download it to get started. In the Midi editor, we make melodies and tunes. Double-click this part to bring it up. Making the beginning is especially important because that becomes the basis of a song. I like thinking of it as choosing the canvas color for your drawing in digital art. The melody you make in the beginning should be consistent with the rest of the song, meaning it repeats a lot in the song, decides the tone and mood of the song, and most importantly defines the notes you'll use throughout the rest of the song. If you're somewhat of a music buff, you may already know the saying that most popular music can be made with the same 4 chords, sometimes with the same 4 notes. There's a reason to that. Not all notes work together or sound good when played at the same time. For example, A, C, and E sound good together when played. Remember, press spacebar to play. But A, C, and C sharp, not so much. A combination of them that sound good together collectively are called scales. The most common ones used in music today are the major and minor scales. Songs using the major scale often sound happy and poppy, while songs using the minor scale often sound more sad and downbeat. You know the whole do re mi? That's basically the lighter notes. These lighter notes on the Midi editor. C to G. It's a major scale, the C major scale to be specific. You see the darker notes on the Midi editor? All of those notes together are the A sharp minor scale. The only thing you really need to take away from this is that all the non-sharps, or lighter notes on the Midi editor, sound good together when played, and are a major scale, while all the sharps, or dark notes on the Midi editor, are a minor scale. This is the basics of music theory. Another thing you need to focus on when making music is the BPM, or beats per minute. The BPM affects the speed or tempo of the song. The higher the BPM is, the faster the whole song will be. Commonly used BPMs are 180, 140, and 120. This is what they're used for. From what I've heard and seen, 180 BPM is often used for high-paced J-rock songs like Maretsu's Coin Locker Baby and a number of Inaba Kumori songs. 140 BPM is often used for Western EDM songs, and in Vocaloid terms, a damn lot of Crusher Piece songs. 120 BPM is slower, and can be used for stuff like downbeat rock or waltz. Not 100%, but I'm pretty sure that some of Steam Pianist songs are at 120 BPM. Pause the video and lay down some notes in the Midi editor, then click the BPM and choose your tempo. You choose how fast you want your song to be. There's no rules here. As a beginner, it's often better to adhere to a certain genre, rather than to make random instruments play together. Unless you know what you're doing, a random mixture of instruments would sound muddy and disorienting. If you listen to different types of music, you would know how each genre has their own select choice of instruments. For example, rock music uses the guitar. Without the guitar, it wouldn't be rock. Here's a list of observations I've made for the instruments of each genre. Rock. Uses one or two guitars, a powerful acoustic drum set, a bass, and sometimes a single keyboard, either acoustic or electronic. Electronic. Uses synthetic bass, a drum bass, a saw, any synthetic that says lead for chords, and for extra effect, an acoustic instrument, but a mixture of any electronic instrument will do. Classical. A violin for the lead, an organ or piano, and/or orchestra drums. If you don't know how those sound like, just know that they're really, really deep. Add electronic instruments and you can make this into a sort of classical dubstep. Japanese. Koto for lead, shamisen for chords, and a taiko drum. Add guitar and bass and you can turn this into an interesting form of J-rock. Waltz. Grand piano, cello, and/or violin, trumps and/or horns. Orchestra drums and cymbals, plus a xylophone or a music box. If you exchange the trumpets with an accordion, you can make this into cabaret. For now, I'll be making cabaret original, or something improvised based on that. We'll see how it goes. The cheapest place to get a good, high quality, and full set of instruments, over 300 different types, is at DSK's HQ Instruments. It's $25, but it's so much cheaper than the stuff like Contact that costs over $300. No need to buy anything for this tutorial. I'll make sure I use free software for everything I do, but it's worth the look. I'll put a link in the description for anyone who needs it. Trust me, it's a lifesaver. Going back to the topic of genres, another thing to note when adhering to the musical style is the time signature. If you go to the Midi editor, you'll see 4 lines or 4 beats within a bar. One loop is usually 4 bars. Now change this time signature from 4x4 to 3x4. You can do this by right-clicking this part and setting the time signature here. Notice how the bars changed. Notice how the beats changed from 4 in a bar to 3 in a bar. That's how time signatures work. The first number dictates how many beats there are in the bar, while the second number dictates how many bars you have for a loop. This affects the genre. Just remember that most popular music, including rock and most EDM, use the 4x4 time signature. If you want something that sounds a bit fancy or different, like waltz or cabaret, you might want to change the signature from 3x4 to 3x4. 5x4 is not a signature that is often used, and for good reason. It's a bit harder to use than 3x4, which sounds snappy and sharp. Whatever you want to use, you can play around with this, but it's not totally advisable to deviate from musical norms. Like any other standards, they're there for a reason. This wraps up the first tutorial, Introduction to Music and Setting Up the Scene for a Song. In the next video, we'll be doing the actual music making process. Thanks for watching, and if this helped, or if you just want me to comment on your stuff, don't forget to link any song for me to critique in the comment section. Also read the description. I've got everything you need down there. See you later, and stay sharp.